How you doing? A couple of additional thoughts actually that I wanted to add that I never mentioned actually in the first video, should I say, and that is, see, with the overall stratosphere warming up, the actual way that the stratosphere is warming up, rather than it being a case that the whole thing warms up over the pole, and that of course would suggest that all the Arctic air that's bottled up over the pole sweeps southwards into the mid latitudes. And when I refer to the mid latitudes, I'm talking about our latitude. So basically, across Europe and across the United States and southern Canada, that is your mid latitude region. Your your high latitude region is up over the kind of the Arctic Circle. That is your high latitude. Just for folks that aren't sure what I'm talking about when I mean the mid latitudes, I'm meaning really our part, like Europe and the United States. That is your mid latitude region. Now, with the stratosphere warming the way it is, and of course we have a pool of very, very cold air in the upper levels of the atmosphere, that doesn't mean we have very, very cold air at the surface down here. Now, what I am interested in is the fact that we could be, with the stratospheric warming, we could be looking at the Arctic oscillation, which has been very, very positive, and that meaning that we've had bottled up cold over the pole, and therefore generally down to the south of that vortex of cold, we have an unusually strong jet stream. The jet stream flowing west to east across the mid-latitudes of the world, the northern hemisphere, should I say. But what's interesting is that if we continue to see the stratosphere warming, that would suggest that we are flipping from a positive Arctic oscillation to a negative one, or at least a neutral one, and we're progressing towards that, I think, by the first week of January. So what does that suggest then? We will then see lobes of Arctic air that's been bottled up over the north starting to push in areas of the mid-latitudes. So that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to be seeing that, but other areas of the mid-latitudes of the hemisphere will start to see that Arctic air reaching their part of the world, and therefore the first changes is across central and eastern parts of the United States, as well as eastern parts of mid-latitude Asia. So the changes are taking place. We're starting to see that vortex over the pole starting to split apart, and that could be the changes. That domino effect could continue. Now, the Arctic oscillation could go negative, but does that mean to say we see cold here? Does that mean to say we've got that blocking area of high pressure over Greenland? No, it doesn't. But it could suggest that it is the signs of change that could make it easier for the North Atlantic oscillation to go negative. We've seen it positive, and that means to say with a positive Arctic oscillation, a positive NAO as well, we've seen very stormy conditions. Plenty of cold air to the north, plenty of very mild air to the south has been producing very strong storms and a very active storm train across the Atlantic. That jet stream has been pulling along the Atlantic at the 30 or 40,000 foot level at over 200 miles an hour, folks. And of course that is the perfect breeding ground for strong Atlantic storms. But as the stratosphere starts to warm, we could be starting to see the cold bleed south, and the jet stream itself, rather than going generally in a west-east fashion, pulling that mild, moderate ocean air across both North America as well as Europe. We could be starting to see those changes taking place. As the cold bleeds south, it buckles the jet stream, becomes highly amplified, and as it does so, we start to see ridges of high pressure develop, troughs on the lee side of those high pressures then start to tap into that Arctic air that's more readily available when it's been pushed away from the pole and towards the mid-latitudes, and that's where the change takes place. The pattern, the overall west-to-east flow, starts to slow down, and I think we're going to be starting to see that by around the midpoint of January. So the early part of January, I'm not expecting us to see anything majorly cold. The pattern takes time to evolve. That stratosphere needs to continue warming more over towards our part of the world. So The stratosphere warming the way it is from Asia to North America suggests to me that they're going to be seeing the Arctic air before we do, and the Western United States is going to be seeing more cold before the main, basically the main trough of Arctic air starts to shape up over towards the east. That's when the North Atlantic oscillation, that blocking high over Greenland, will start to lock down that cold over the eastern part of North America, and as well as that, the cold that's building over Asia will start to bleed towards us. So that cold air, that Arctic air, will come towards us from Scandinavia and the eastern part of Europe, central and eastern part of Europe, towards us by around the 15th of January into the 20th, and I think from there on we will be much, much colder. I hope this isn't a load of gobbledygook, and I hope it makes some sort of a sense to you. Like I said to you in the last video, I'm trying to make sense of it myself. Continue to keep checking back for more details. Bye for now.